Inside the home was the actual target after an altercation earlier in the day. And there's still no word this morning on whether the deadly shooting of a 6-year-old boy in Northmoorhead was accidental or intentional. Police got a call around 8 Sunday night about a shooting in the 400 block of Sunrise Circle.
They say several children were apparently home alone when they found a gun under a chip box.
Somebody saying that some little kids told the caller that a little kid had been shot. We were hearing reports that possibly the children were playing with it, thought it wasn't a real gun.
That dispatch audio indicates 5 children were in the apartment at the time, but there is no word on the other kids' ages or if all of them live there. We did learn that some of the children are siblings, but we don't know how all of them know each other or if they're all related. And there's no word yet on who was supposed to be watching those children.
Valley News Live spoke with local criminal lawyers who say in a case like this, someone could end up facing child endangerment charges, and in a very rare case, could even be charged with manslaughter. You can hear more of the dispatch audio on our VNL News app.
Also breaking this morning, fire crews spent much of the night on the scene of a 3-alarm fire in downtown Fargo. It was at the old Mid-America Steel building on the east edge of downtown Fargo. That's right next to the river. Smoke was pouring out of the building in the 100 block of NP Avenue, and it spread out for several blocks. A deputy fire marshal says there were no initial reports of any injuries.
He says it was a stubborn fire to fight, but there's also no word yet on the cause. If you're headed toward the downtown area this morning, the Fargo Fire Department is asking you to keep an eye out for any equipment in that area of 2nd Avenue North and NP Avenue. Of course, they have a lot of water hose still out in the area. The Pulse Point app indicates more than 24 fire vehicles from Fargo alone were sent to the scene, including a drone. Moorhead Fire also backed up Fargo.
New this morning, authorities in northwestern Minnesota are searching for a missing woman, and they say the circumstances surrounding her disappearance are unknown. Police in Bagley, Minnesota say 40-year-old Danielle Dressler was last seen on Thursday, March 18th at her home in that city.
She's about 5'2", 110 pounds with blue eyes and a partially shaved head. She's known to drive a red Jeep Renegade with Minnesota plates ECB 527. Anyone with information on where she could be is urged to call police.
It is now 8 minutes before the top of the hour. We want to get a check of our forecast. Calm out there this morning, but big changes on the way for midweek. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, we're looking at some rain moving in. Welcome rain for a lot of us, but unfortunately not everybody's going to get it. And we're looking down toward the Dakota Magic Casino. I'm keeping a close eye on this area because this is where we're more likely to see that rain move in first in our southern viewing area for the valley. So conditions will be cloudy, and then we'll see that chance for rain increase through the day today. And here's what we're looking at. You can see a large area of precipitation south of us from Sioux Falls to Minneapolis. That's kind of working its way northward very slowly, but our southeastern counties are going to be most impacted by that. A secondary band or broken band of precipitation trying to get going up in the northwestern part of our viewing area, up by Devil's Lake, northeastern North Dakota. That not necessarily reaching the ground. I haven't seen any reports, but still this is an area where we may have a few sprinkles, very weak light rain showers potentially for us as we move through the day. Southern Valley, that's where the more substantial rain will occur as we head into the next 24 hours. It may take some time, though, for that to start building in. Our temperatures, as you're stepping out the door, we're looking at some upper 20s to some upper 30s. It's 27 degrees in Grand Forks, 31 in Fargo, 39 under the clouds in Fergus Falls and in Detroit Lakes. Your afternoon planner, back into the 40s to some low 50s today. A lot of us will just spend the day in some clouds. Fargo, Grand Forks, more likely that will be the situation, but the rain shower activity will continue to spread northward into tonight. If you're in Lakes Country, if you're down towards Sisseton, you'll see those rain showers sooner than that. And it may change over to a little bit of snow by tomorrow morning. That's why we have that first alert weather day for Wednesday morning, because that rain-snow mix can lead to some slick spots on the roads. The best bet for that would be in the southeast, and that's where we're looking at a very thin coating. It's not going to be a heavy amount, but still could have some impacts on your travel. As far as rainfall or liquid potential here, we're looking at anywhere in green, more than a ½ inch of rain. We're missing out on it for most of the valley, but some of us in the southeast have a decent shot at it. Wednesday, that eventually moves out. We'll have some wind with it too, and we'll get a break on Thursday. But the good thing is if you don't like that snow or frozen precipitation, the daytime temperatures are going to be above freezing for the next week.
That's the silver lining. All right, I'll take that. Thank you, Lisa.
We have more breaking news this morning. A nursing home in Spring Valley, New York has collapsed after a raging inferno tore through it overnight. Take a look. But it's not clear, though, if anyone was inside at the time of the flames. It happened at a facility for senior care and assisted living with room for up to 200 people.
The building had been engulfed in flames for around 2 hours before it exploded and caved in. School buses have been mobilized to help ferry elderly patients who had made it out of the home care facility and wanted to go to another site.
Fargo's mask mandate is no more. Fargo City Commissioners voted 3-2 last night to let that COVID rule expire at midnight. The city, however, is still urging people to cover their faces during this pandemic.
Social distancing and hand washing are also strongly encouraged, and the city still requires members of the public to wear masks within all city facilities. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says if conditions deteriorate, he will consider reinstating that mask mandate. Fargo City leaders are saying yes to a bias crime ordinance. Violators could spend 30 days in jail and be fined up to $1,500. A similar proposal was defeated recently by the state legislature.
City Commissioner Arlette Preston says an ordinance is an attempt to protect people. City commissioners will then get an opinion from the state attorney general on the legality of that ordinance. An Otter Tail County man who was serving time for killing his mother back in 2011 has been killed inside his own Minnesota prison cell. The Department of Corrections says 56-year-old James Howard was murdered by his cellmate at the prison in Rush City.
He was found early yesterday with face and head injuries. Howard was serving time for attacking his mother with a machete. He claimed he wanted to end her suffering from cancer and diabetes.
The U.S. Supreme Court has declined to take up the appeal of a Minnesota man serving 2 life sentences for killing 2 teenage burglars. Attorneys for Byron Smith of Little Falls have argued through the appeals process that the courtroom was improperly closed to discuss admissibility of witnesses, depriving Smith of his right to a public trial. Smith was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder in the Thanksgiving Day 2012 shooting of 18-year-old Haley Kiefer and her 17-year-old cousin Nick Brady. Smith says the shootings were in self-defense.
A federal judge has denied a sentence reduction for a man serving a life sentence for his involvement in a deadly shootout with North Dakota U.S. Marshals back in 1983. 67-year-old Scott Fall appealed his life sentence, saying he has received little medical treatment over the years and has trouble breathing at times. He also cites possible complications from COVID-19 as a factor for his early release request. Paul is serving a life sentence for his involvement in killing those 2 U.S. Marshals during a shootout in Medina. Fall and Gordon Call were members of a posse movement, which was an anti-government group. Grand Forks taxpayers will be deciding a potential $86 million project to consolidate 3 schools. A special election will be held in the district on June 22nd to decide the fate of that project.
The school board voted last night 8-1 to push the resolution forward, despite criticism coming from public testimony. If the decision is passed by voters in a special election, West Elementary, Wilder Elementary, and Valley Middle School will consolidate to create a new school. There is a food giveaway in Fargo and Grand Forks this week. Tomorrow you can pick up items at the Fargo Moorhead Labor Temple, and on Friday people in Grand Forks can pick up a food box at Sharon Lutheran Church.
Both events start at noon, and it's first come, first serve while supplies last. A food pantry on the NDSU campus is helping students and employees in need. The Goods for the Herd pantry is located at the NDSU bookstore in the Memorial Union. It's open Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon and Thursdays from 11 to 4.
Students and faculty can find healthy food selections as well as personal care items and household products. If you'd like to help the pantry, they need food items along with some personal hygiene products as well. Let's get the answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook this morning. That question, 1 in 6 people say they forget to do this on a daily basis.
The answer, I would agree with this because I just drink coffee all day long. The answer is drink water. Are you getting your 8 glasses of water in every day?
Yeah, you got to make sure you do that. I'm terrible too. I go from coffee, and then when I get home, depending on the day, I might switch to a beer. Or maybe a little more coffee, depending on the time of the day, so we'll see.
You can play along every weekday morning by heading to our Valley News Live Facebook page. Remember, we are following several breaking news stories for you this morning. You get the very latest. Coming up on the Valley today, we're rolling on the Fargo CW, but right now, if you stay right here, we are just about to start the Today Show and CBS This Morning.